welcome to another edition of Long Beach Treasures. I'm your host, Harvey Keller. Today we're up here on Myrtle, and we're going to look at one of the first modern homes here in the city of Long Beach. And joining me right now is Michael Albanese, who is the owner and restorer of the home.
Yes, I bought the home in October. We started the partial restoration and full renovation inside and out of the house.
Now, this was called the 20th Century Home. Why was that?
It was given the name 20th Century House by the architect Hugh Davies. In 1937, it was released to the public as an exhibition home, and Hugh Davies built the house with some realtors in the neighborhood who were selling lots in Bixby Knolls at the time, and they did it as a spec house, actually. They named it 20th Century House. It was the most modern home in the area, and it got national acclaim and was called the most beautiful modern home in California at the time. And when they opened it for public viewing, about 100,000 people came to see the house.
Wow, that's an awful lot of people to troop through the house.
It was. I think it was open for several weeks, and the first few days they said that the lines were lined up around, the people were lined up around the block to see the house.
And am I correct in that it was Bullock's Home Interior Design who furnished the home?
Yes, the third partner in the spec house was Bullock's. They called it Bureau of Interior Decoration at the time, and they furnished the home to the tune of about $10,000, which at the time was a huge amount of money because the realtors were selling the lots in the neighborhood for $1,500.
So you could buy about six lots for what
lots.
they paid to decorate the house.
Correct.
Can we go in and check it out?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Hi, Harvey. Come on in.
Well, thank you.
One of the first interesting things about the house is this interesting little trap door here in the entry door. Come on in. This is the entry hall.
This is impressive.
The best thing about the house is the amount of window area and light that comes in. And because it's all painted white inside and out, it really reflects the light. Unfortunately, today's a bit of a rainy day, but when the sun's shining, it's just beautifully clear, bright white in here.
What's the square footage?
It's 3,152 square feet. It's 4-bedroom, 4-bath, including a maid's bathroom and bedroom in the back.
Now, this wood has all been refinished?
We've refinished every single surface in the house, inside and out. So everything that you see has been stripped down to the bare wood or the bare metal and started over. All the windows are steel, and the worst ones we took all the way down to the metal, reprimed and repainted. All of the wood was taken down to the bare wood. All the wall paneling was stained a cherry stain. It's actually original wood is birch.
That's what my next question, what kind of wood?
It's birch wood stained with a cherry stain on the paneling, and on the lower cabinets it's more of a honey color.
Now these casement windows, do they swing out?
They do. They all have brass fittings for the locks, and you just turn them and push out. They're all casements throughout the house. There are no sliding windows.
So that's a pull-down screen? And inside
yes, I'll show you that later on because that's kind of a high window. But all of the windows that are operable had recessed screens originally, but they were so deteriorated we couldn't save any of them. So there's one company actually that replaces all of those windows with the same item, only new. So we had them all brand new recessed screens put in.
Now, I read where this was called an international style.
The house from the outside is fairly pure European international style, which predates anything in the United States by at least a decade,
and what
maybe more.
constitutes international style?
Well, emphasis on sort of cubes and straight lines, curved ends, window walls, so lots of glass, open pipe railing on decks, things like that. And there's a bleed over toward to the modern, which was a little bit later, but things that were a little bit more influenced by transportation, mostly ships. You'll see the ship's lights up in the soffit in the living room are like portholes and little hatches. We had all those restored. And the house has other portholes. In what you'll see later in the swinging door, there's a porthole window in the powder room. So there was a real emphasis on the transportation of the time because the technology was new and exciting, and speed and travel and velocity were all things that the streamlined modern took into account.
So the house is actually built around the outdoor patio area?
Yes, it actually has 2 yards. The yard that we're looking at is the front courtyard, and it's a bit of a U shape with the maid's wing over the garage in the back, the breakfast room across the courtyard, and we're standing in the living room. To the right would be the dining room. And then on the other side of the kitchen is a child's play yard that we'll see later.
You know, if I didn't know that this was built in 1936, looking at it, I would swear that it's a brand new home. There's not a crack. Everything is so pristine, and it just looks like it was just finished yesterday.
Well, we were pretty thorough in our restoration and renovation. There was nothing that was untouched.
Mm-hmm. And this little room over here?
This room here is the library. Sorry, there's a bit of an echo because the house is fairly empty. This is the library and has beautiful built-in bookshelves and sliding cabinet doors underneath. And all the doors are stained in here. The floor, you'll notice, is solid walnut parquet. And it runs throughout all the public areas of the house except the living room.
Is this the original floor?
It is the original floor, and the reason it's not in the living room is apparently at one time there was some sort of water leak or flood from the windows, and the previous owners removed the original transom and steel casement windows from that wall and put in an aluminum storefront system, and then they took all the parquet flooring, unfortunately, off the living room, and now you see the wall-to-wall carpeting in there, but that's the only room that has that.
Speaking of windows, I want to check this one out in here. Again, this looks like a porthole.
This is a great...
and it just opens up?
Round pivot window.
Oh, that's great.
It's a casement, and it's really fun. It's very unusual. These kind of windows are really rare. It's my favorite window of the house.
I can see why.
This is a great bathroom. I love the tile in here. Yes, all the bathrooms have the original tile. It's hexagonal, and this one's sort of a ultramarine blue, and it's all the tile in the house is in great shape. We just cleaned it up. Didn't have to do anything else to it.
Well, let's continue down the hallway here. Where are we going next?
Well, we sort of missed the entry hall, but one really nice feature of the entry hall is the wood paneling, and you can see the horizontal stripes in there are copper, and those had been so oxidized that you couldn't really tell they were copper, but we took them down and now we're letting them go back to natural patina, so eventually they'll turn dark again.
That's beautiful.
And this is an interesting thing right here where the front door and the library door have a little bit different, they have levers on them instead of the doorknobs for the rest of the doors, and these are very special 1930s streamlined design that I haven't seen anywhere else. We had those all replated.
This is the most impressive staircase.
This is everyone's favorite part of the house, is the double curving stair.
That's fantastic.
And it's got a really beautiful sort of sensuous copper pipe rail going all up the half wall there. It's held up, if you can see closely underneath the rail, it's held up by little copper spheres.
Well, why copper?
I don't know. There was an emphasis on mixing metals in that time, and you'll see a lot of lighting fixtures or sculpture or hardware that mixes brass, copper, and nickel, usually, instead of chrome at that time.
Well, we can see more as we go up, but I want to finish down here. This is, I assume, the dining room?
This is the dining room. It's quite large. You'll see one paneled wall that matches the entry hall.
You know, as I stand here and I look at the wooden wall with the copper and the front door, that's another nautical feel for me.
Yes, there's several places in the house that really feel like you're in a ship, and I think that's one of them. One thing that's nice about having the paneling where Hugh Davies placed it on just the one wall in the dining room and also the 2 walls there in the entry halls, when you look back from this way, the house seems very warm and cozy, and I think a lot of people think because it's so white and there's so many windows that it seems like a very cold house, but it's not. There's a lot of color and texture in the wood.
And this is the breakfast room?
Yes, this breakfast room is fairly informal, opens out to the patio through the French casement doors, as does the living room straight across. So you could eat outside or you could eat in here. There's a built-in serving cabinet right here that has sliding doors below, which were all restored. And then the shelving above and just a few period accessories that I was able to find.
Is the curved endings, is that sort of on the order of streamline modern?
Yeah, very much so. There's, again, that emphasis on movement and speed, and that curve at the end of a long line like you see here, sort of typical signature piece of streamline modern. This is a great door, Harvey, between the
Oh, you have a
breakfast room and the kitchen.
Porthole?
Has a porthole. That's an original door. That's pretty fun. Also makes you feel like you're in an ocean liner.
And this is the kitchen?
Yes, kitchen. Sorry for the wires. We just had a party in here last night. Kitchen is fairly original. We had to rebuild the drain board and the sink because it had a lot of water damage. But we found some vintage looking linoleum to use on the floor. It's sort of the swirl pattern real linoleum that was used at the time. And we used Heath tile on the countertop, which was from the 1920s and 30s. So it has sort of the same period feel to it, all handmade tiles. We weren't able to save any of the original hexagonal tile there, but over here on the small breakfast or a little butler's counter here, we were able to do that.
Is this a milk box?
Yes, this was something where the milkman would come to the back door and open the little door and read what you set out the night before for what you wanted him to leave. You can say milk, skim milk, whipping cream, butter, and then you would just open this in the morning and it would magically be there.
That's neat.
Yes.
And then you have another porthole on the back door, which is a split level door.
This door actually was a design of mine. It was the original door. I don't know what it was. It was missing when we bought the house. So I designed this door. I'd always sort of liked Dutch doors, and thought it would be nice to frame the view of the child's play yard through the large porthole.
Oh.
So, and especially if kids are playing back here or the dogs are back here, it's great to just open the top and still have the bottom closed.
So this is the second yard?
Yes, this is the child's play yard, which has a covered patio, also great for sitting out here and eating or barbecuing. The feature of the yard is the swing set, which is very unusual. It's a custom-made swing set. The prior family that owned the house was in oil, and they built the swing set for their kids out of oil pipeline pipe. Oh. And we had that all restored, and it's fun to come out here and swing. What you're looking at on the side here is the garage below, half a story down, and then half a story up is the maid's wing, which constitutes all of the functional areas. There's a large storage room, there's a laundry room, there's the maid's bedroom and bathroom. And we'll see that later.
And does this door go up to the maid's room?
Yes, this door goes into a hall and goes to the left to the breakfast room where we just were, and to the right up to the maid's area.
So which way are we going?
Well, let's go back through the kitchen. There's one thing I wanted to show you in the kitchen, which is pretty unique. All of the pulls on the cabinets are new, but they look like they're streamlined modern. A lot of people think they're old. But the interesting thing about these, and I purchased these at Liz's Antique Hardware in Los Angeles on La Brea, which has some great things. And Liz was able to find these old Bakelite dice from a warehouse from the 30s, and they never had the holes drilled in them, so she made pulls out of them.
Oh, how neat.
So that was really great. Actually, this is a very interesting closet. This was typical of the time, where there was a vent at the bottom and a vent at the top, and it facilitated airflow through, and you would keep your root vegetables here. There used to be a kind of an armature with a pole and some floating turntable shelves that held, potatoes and onions and things like that. That wasn't able to be saved, unfortunately. It was too far gone, but with some wire shelves in there, it'll do the same thing again. We have the original fan over the stove that we had restored, which is really interesting. It's all cast aluminum, which is sort of unusual to see and works perfectly well. It's a great design. All the tiles original on the walls. And Hugh Davies built in Long Beach, he built mostly public buildings. Poly High, I think, was built just prior to this house. So some of the tile that you'll see in here, it's been said, I don't know if it's completely true, but it's been said some of the larger scale tiles like this and some in the bathroom upstairs that we'll see had also been used at Poly High and is actually school tile. It's quite thick. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick. So let's go back through the dining room and we can go upstairs.
Okay.
Actually, we missed this picture. This is an interesting
That's a beautiful
chandelier.
I love
Yes, I was really lucky to find it. It's not original to the house, but I found it from a gentleman in Pasadena in an antique mall who sells only streamlined modern lighting fixtures. And I especially like this one because it's octagonal and it sort of matches the small octagons that are in all of the heating grates throughout the house that you see down there in the paneled wall.
Oh.
And it also has the small vertical ribs on the sides of the octagon, which you'll see repeated upstairs in the master bath in the tile.
Well, this is impressive.
The
I
stair
love
is
this.
great, isn't it? You'll see that the stair is all walnut planking, which would be very difficult and expensive to get today. And it comes up to a really gracious and beautiful large stair hall,
And
which I really like because it's filled with light and lots of windows. And here's another great fixture that you're pointing out here. I got this from the same gentleman in Pasadena, and this, strangely enough, came from the original Long Beach City Hall, as I was told. Apparently there were about a dozen of them, and he was able to get 3 of them. And I got one, and I thought it was appropriate that we bring it back to Long Beach.
It sure was.
So this hall has a great big linen cabinet here with pull-out folding shelves and then a door out to the deck, which is a great place to look over the yard. Has a great little detail here with the curve around the knob. If you want to come outside. One of the great things about the house is all these different vantage points that you can sort of come out and look back at the house on. I especially like coming all the way to the end of the deck over here and looking back at the other deck in the master bedroom on the other wing of the house. And part of what's interesting about the house is that just about every room has corner windows, glass on 2 sides, and the room we're standing in front of actually has glass on 3 sides. So you can literally look right through the house.
Even the railing sort of gives you a feeling of a ship's deck.
Exactly. Very nautical. You wouldn't be able to do this today for the codes. Children could fall right through. You only have 4 inches allowed between pickets today. Interestingly enough, they must have thought of that back in those days because the room we're standing in front of is a child's bedroom, but there's no door out from it to the deck, which today I think we would have probably put a door from each bedroom out to this lovely deck, but you can only get here from the hallway.
Let's go back in and check out some of these rooms.
Okay.
Because I don't want to miss anything.
Well, I should probably point out to you that all of the wood is board and batten. It's a horizontal batten. Usually you'll see batten used vertically. But in these days, to emphasize the horizontality of the house, they used the battens this way. And we had all of those restored. They have a little drip screed or drip edge underneath, and that's why it's been left in such good condition over all the years. We actually did have to take it all down to the wood and start over with the paint, but none of it at all was rotten, and it's because the detailing is so good.
Should we go this way while we're here?
Yes. The hall continues to the children's wing. Actually, the nice thing about the floor plan of the house is that it's very separate, and the parents are in the back, the kids are in the front, and the maid's in a completely different way on the other side of the house. This window with the ribbed glass we put in ourselves because it used to be an operable transom, but it was missing and we couldn't find another one to match. So we used the ribbed glass, which is also sort of emphasizes the horizontality.
And again, the curved walls, they're nautical and streamlined and combined.
And there's a lot of use of these curved walls in places where you wouldn't normally expect it in a hallway. There's a nice little sculpture niche in the hallway here as well. And a period light fixture, which is reproduction. This is the smallest bedroom here, child's bedroom. But as you can see with the corner windows and the pipe column in the corner, it's a nice room. It's an elegant room. we took all of the windowsills, and they originally were paint grade, and we took them all down and had them stained and varnished, so that helps to warm up the house as well. All of the base shoe around the flooring, you'll see that in the bedrooms, it's all oak strip flooring, and because it changes from the hallways where the parquet is. But the house was carpeted when we bought it, and so I didn't really realize that once we took out all the carpet, the base shoe was all missing, which is the dark piece that goes between the baseboard and the floor. So we found some pieces of the original one, which was a custom design, and we had it all custom milled and put back all throughout the house.
This is the original hardwood floors?
It is. It just took one sanding and brought it right back to life. This bedroom, the sort of opulence of this house is evident in things like this that were sort of unusual, which was having a fairly large walk-in closet, especially for children. You just sort of didn't see that too much in those days. But all the closets are pretty large and have windows and built-in shoe racks and things like that.
This is one of the 4 bathrooms?
Yes, this is the children's bathroom. And it has the original hexagonal tile on the floor. And in the 50s, this bathroom had been remodeled, and they had some pink textured tile and a wainscot up to about 5 feet high around the bathroom, and they had put it in the tub as well. We took all that down, and to our surprise, we uncovered the original 6 by 12 yellow tile underneath, and we were able to save it. And this is the same tile that was used apparently in the bathrooms at Poly High.
Well, I noticed this toilet. This is very unique. It's unusual. Is this
all of the sinks and the toilets have been replaced. The old ones were in fairly bad condition, and I wanted to put something in that was in keeping with the feel and the scale of the old ones, but yet very crisp and modern. And we wrestled back and forth whether we really wanted to do more period fittings, or if we wanted to get them restored or put new. And we agreed that if Hugh Davies were here today and had all of the wonderful choices we have, he probably would have chosen these instead of the ones he chose. He just didn't have that many things to choose from. So these are Duravit sinks and toilets, and that's a Philippe Starck design on that toilet.
So you made the decision for him.
Right. Now you'll see the shower, even though it was put in the 50s, we took it down to the studs and redid the entire thing and put in a sandblasted glass tile and laid up horizontally to match the original, and pulled the colors from the floor and the wall tile. And it's the original tub.
Oh. And we just keep going?
This is a slightly larger child's bedroom, probably meant for 2 children, whereas the other one was probably meant for 1 child. This has has 2 closets actually, one here as part of the dressing room. And this dressing room is really great because it's got a low bench to sit down and put your shoes on, and directly across from it, on the opposite side are the shoe shelves. So it's really functional that way. And then it's got this great dresser with all of these very cool half-moon pulls that are used throughout the house. And then, as a surprise, when you open this cabinet, there's a whole bank of smaller sort of sock and underwear drawers. And again, you'll see that the finger pulls on them sort of come up vertically all the way, and then the last one curves back. So you'll see this kind of detailing in almost every room in the house.
There's a lot of really specialized detailing in this house, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Is that typical of Hugh Davies?
Hugh Davies was a very good designer, and the other buildings that he did were mostly in, I think, Spanish colonial and some more traditional styles. And I think this was probably the most modern thing that he worked on, besides maybe Poly High. But
Community Hospital.
Community Hospital is a little bit more Spanish colonial, I believe.
Yeah. This is a nice room. Is this a desk area?
This is my favorite room because of the glass on 3 sides. You've got the corner window near the deck, and then you have this whole wall of glass. And then you have the built-ins in the corner, again with all the little drawers with the half-moon poles. And the built-in curved shelving over there is pretty interesting. And again, you see the shelf in the back that comes along horizontally and then slightly curves down. It's one of my favorite pieces there.
This is just really a grand home.
Yes, for a child's bedroom, it's pretty opulent. You'll see that all of the the closets were built with airflow through them, so they have vents underneath in the toe kick space and vents up at the top, so the air can flow through the closed areas.
We're going to have to hurry. We've only got 4 more minutes.
Well, this is the master bedroom, and you have a very similar dressing room here as the one in the other bedroom, with a very similar type of cabinets and drawers, and also two closets, one for the man and one for the woman. And here's the master bath, which is similar to the other bath we just saw, except for the fact that it has a separate stall shower, which was also unusual for the day. This is a great feature of the house, this round mirror, which actually opens up, and surprise, it's a medicine cabinet, which is very nice. I haven't seen that before. And this yellow tile at the bottom, this low wainscot, also has the ribs in it that I was explaining before that match the chandelier. And here's the master bedroom. Same detailing as the other bedrooms, just slightly larger, and then has these wonderful French casement windows that go out to the deck, where you can look on one side to the children's play yard and the other side to the more formal courtyard. That's it for upstairs. If you'd like to stop and continue over in the maids, we have just a couple more rooms.
Let's run over and check out the maids' quarters,
okay,
because I'm sure that's just as impressive as this is.
Okay. The door that leads from the breakfast room up a private rear stair for the maid to get to her quarters and also the laundry room. It's half a level up. And the first thing you see here is the laundry room.
Wow, this is a large laundry room.
It is. We put a very large new commercial stainless steel sink in here and left room for the washer and dryer next to it. We have the old style linoleum, and it's got the typical built-in ironing board, as every house from that era had.
Right.
And then a place to hang the clothes.
I notice you even have an oval tub.
Now this is interesting because it's just a big storage room. It's completely blank. It has a window, which we can't really explain, but we think it's just for overflow storage for seasonal items, linens, good silver and things like that, because there wasn't a lot of storage in the dining room for that.
Could be converted into a large closet now.
Yes. And this is the maid's bedroom.
Hey, she had pretty stylish quarters, didn't she?
She got a lot of windows. It's very light and airy. I can demonstrate the screens in this room because they're easy to reach. But when you open the two casements, you just grab these and voila.
That's really a great idea, isn't it?
It's really great. They're very durable. The thing that I love is that the screening is all copper.
You can see
it's beautiful when the sun hits it, and it'll last forever.
I think they should use those in today's homes.
Well, you can get them, but the thing is they have to be used with the casement windows. This is the maid's walk-in closet, which is also sort of unusual for the day. It's decent size. And then there's a separate bathroom here specifically for the maid that has quite beautiful green and turquoise tile. Again, the hexagon floor, and the tile around the skirt on the tub was original in the green. What we did, it didn't have a shower, so we put the shower and put the turquoise glass tile, matched up all the grout lines, and actually saved the green tile from the original splash and made this decking right here out of it, which was quite difficult to do.
Michael, I can't believe we've used up the whole half hour already, and there's probably more to see, but we're out of time, and I want to thank you so much for taking us through the house. You did a marvelous job in the restoration. So, Michael,
very much.
Thanks for letting us come and see your house.
Anytime. Thanks for coming.
And that's our show. Thanks for joining us, and come back next time as we take another walk through history and uncover more Long Beach treasures.